So as you probably could have guessed by the huge blooper on Monday afternoon, and by blooper, I mean leaving a video on public that was supposed to be private, you know that I have been playing a lot of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta, and of course, I guess you could have watched or seen the streams as well. But anyways, the beta has been extended and will end on Wednesday. I am making this video on Tuesday, uploading it on Wednesday. I just finished playing a few more rounds of the beta to reaffirm my opinions, and yeah, let's just say they're reaffirmed. Now, I've waited to put this video up because I wanted to get a firm grip on my feelings for the beta and the game so I could really get it right with the time that I have as a college student. So needless to say, I lost the speed game in terms of getting this uploaded first, but hopefully I can turn out a deeper and more fleshed out analysis of the game that DICE and EA are pitching to the millions and millions of Star Wars fans, myself included. I hope to keep this around 8 to 9 minutes or so I don't completely lose all of you, but I'm going to try and fit as much into this review as possible. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now let me start off by saying that this is not shaping up to be a bad game, and mechanically speaking, neither was EA Battlefront 2015, but like the first game, there are a lot of things that scare me about Battlefront 2, but before we get into all that, let's talk about some of the positives here, and this is probably something you have all heard before, and that is this game is visually one of the most stunning I have ever had the pleasure of playing as a gamer. Like, seriously, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is absolutely gorgeous. I am playing on a standard PlayStation 4, which is actually why I always put a little PS4 logo. A little fun fact for you guys, I always put the PS4 logo after our intro so nobody has to ask what platform we're playing on. But as I was saying, this is already amazing, graphically speaking, so I can only imagine and genuinely be incredibly jealous of those on PS4 Pro and PC. DICE has talked a lot about this new particle maker or enhancer or some other technical term that I don't know at the moment, and this generates all the wind, paper, and dust that you see flying around the Naboo map, as well as falling leaves on the Strike map, of which the name escapes me. And pretty much everything else that we have gotten in this beta. More on that later. The core fundamentals of the gameplay are also quite good. The gunplay is satisfying and varied, and everything animation-wise feels really smooth and good. I'm a huge fan of the added recoil to the weapons, and that's something that they've done to increase the skill gap. It's something that really teaches you to learn the mechanics of the game in comparison to EA Battlefront, where you could hold down a button with pretty much no recoil at all, and there was no incentive to ADS, whereas you really get that incentive this time around. I also really enjoy the new battle point system and all the added upgrades that DICE has introduced. It's no longer about who can sprint or I guess jetpack to the ATSD power up the fastest, it's who can generate enough points through their play. Heroes seem a lot weaker this time around, and at this point I'm a little bit torn about whether this is a good thing or not, but I'm leaning towards it being more of a good thing than a bad thing. It adds a tactical element to playing a hero that was not previously there in the Battlefront EA. It rewards good players without completely hammering down and pub stomping average players. I would like to see, however, a one-time use or a cooldown mechanic implemented to heroes, because at this point I can get heroes pretty much every game, and I get the impression, especially towards the end of the round, that I'm hogging the hero and others are not getting a chance to play. So in the spirit of fairness, I think that a one-time use for heroes would be nice to make sure that other people get a chance to play. Either that or an incredibly long cooldown, because sometimes I will get Darth Maul or Boba Fett before the second phase, or excuse me, the second part of the first phase, which is incredibly fast, and then I'll be able to get him or Boba once again later down in the match if it goes that long. I can imagine how frustrating it is to finally get 5,000 battle points only to find out that people have already spawned in as a hero and you won't get to play. But overall, I enjoy the hero system in the game as it is right now, and I can't wait to see the other heroes that DICE brings to Battlefront 2. Starfighter Assault is probably the most fun I've had in this beta. It shows off the new flying controls, which are a godsend when compared to the flying of Battlefront EA, and the removal of battle pickups and the implementation of of cards for the ships is a great idea. I love having the ability to choose when to repair myself via a cooldown, instead of frantically searching for a repair pickup or premeditate picking one up before I go into battle. I'd have the hero ships be a bit more expensive than they already are. I think like the Millennium Falcon is only 2,000 battle points. But that's probably so cheap due to the shortness of those matches, but we'll get to that later. Everything else in this beta really scares me for the future of this game, and I'll tell you why. It's not that I dislike the game. In fact, I really enjoy it. My time with it was very fun, especially with my friends. But coming from my experiences with the first game, there are still some lingering grievances that are rearing their ugly head in the sequel, and there are some new entities that EA has created. Despite the gameplay overall being really fun and fluid, the weapon and class balancing needs to be tweaked. Like a lot. By far the most popular class in the game is the Heavy class, and that is purely for the sheer amount of DPS that the Heavy can dish out in comparison, and the Specialist is a close second. The Specialist's infiltration ability is by far the most overpowered thing in the game right now, because a kill resets the time that you have the ability, and it resets it, if not 100%, close to 75%. So you can just keep chaining kills. I enjoy the Assault class just fine, but it gets outclassed sometimes, and I'd like to see some balancing here. The Officer class is fine, I suppose, but I hardly see anybody using it because of how good the other classes are. So there needs to be some weapon tuning and some class tuning, because I feel like there are still crutches in this game, and that's something that plagued Battlefront EA. If you did not run a jetpack in that game, you were at a complete and utter disadvantage. And I'd hope that DICE tries to avoid that, because when there is not so much a balance of weapon and class, the game will become very repetitive. And I think one of the major things that happened with Battlefront EA is that the game, yes, there was a lack of content helping that, but it got repetitive. And the aura that, oh, this is Star Wars, really starts to wear out over time. So I'd really hope that DICE does a lot with the weapon balancing to keep things interesting, and that the post-launch content, the DLC, the free stuff that we'll be getting, is also balanced as well. The game also needs a defined and solid squad system, because I'm not sure what this spawn system is in the game right now, but I know that it is completely and utterly useless and void of the point of a squad. I understand the thought process behind spawning in as reinforcing waves. That idea I don't mind. What upsets me is that there are no sets of people that you are in a squad with, and I'm not talking about the people you spawn in with. I'm talking about a set group of people that is in your squad every time you spawn in. DICE has made a point to give you bonus score for playing with teammates, yet you spawn with new ones every time, and oftentimes the teammates that you do spawn with are doing something completely different than you are, and I don't see why you have to change your playstyle and what you are currently doing to earn more points by staying with the Specialist that is camping the back of the map. Not to mention that after you spawn in with them, it is nearly impossible to see who your partners are. And not only that, if you are in a party with friends, premeditated party with friends going into the game, why can't you be in a permanent squad with them? So you can see where you are, or where they are rather, and get that bonus score. You don't necessarily have to spawn in with them, but I'm really not a fan of essentially saying, oh, you are playing with your friends, well screw you, you aren't even going to be able to play next to them for half the game. And you are only going to earn bonus score if you play with the teammates that we assign you, and not the members in your party. It is a system that makes no sense, quite frankly, and it pisses me off a little bit. Games in general, I feel, need to be a little bit longer, only 5 to 10 minutes longer, and there are a couple of ways to do this. I think adding more reinforcements at each stage of the game on the Galactic Assault, especially if it's a close game, needs to be done. 30 reinforcements does not cut it, and it gives basically no fighting chance for the attacking side, especially considering the indoor section of the theme map is very difficult since people are spamming the entrances with grenades and blaster fire, and heroes are starting to come out onto the battlefield, or excuse me, the Battlefront at this point. And I mentioned it earlier, but I'd like to see some more time for the space battle mode as well. It feels over way too quickly, and I have yet to see the resistance side win on the map. It feels very one-sided. The strike game mode, I have only played once because I was immediately turned off by how short it was. Granted, it was a pub stomp, but I don't think it's fair to have it be a one-and-done type of game mode. If the capture, or excuse me, if you capture the files, you win. You should, in my mind, have 3 files to capture, so I guess three chances, just to extend the game a little longer and make it a little bit more manageable if one team scores really quickly. Finally, wrapping things up now for this video. You thought I forgot about it. Well, fuck no, I did not. By far the most infuriating part of this game right now is the supply drop crate system, and in addition to that, these kind of go hand in hand with one another, the lack of progression system. And in my notes, I just have the word rant capitalized in all letters, so I'm just gonna go off on a tear right now and see where it takes me. We're already at 11 minutes in this video right now, so I'm gonna try to keep this short. But the supply drop system, I understand that DICE needs a way to create revenue for more post-game content, seeing that there's no season pass anymore. All the content in Battlefront 2 is going to be free, but I disagree with the supply drop system being so heavily close and attuned to the progression system. There is no progression system apart from the supply crates. You cannot progress in the game apart from what you get in these supply crates. And that's really, really stupid and annoying, and it's pissed me off, and it's pissed a lot of other players off, because what you get in these supply drops are these star cards. That's how they're using the star cards this time around. And there are 3 different levels of these cards. There's the bronze, there's the silver, and there's the gold, and each of them have a different percentage of health. So if you have health regeneration, bronze might be 25%, silver might be 50%, and then gold might be 75%. And if you have a lesser version of that, well, too bad for you. You might get beat out by somebody with the gold card, and you can pay for these supply crates to get that card. So essentially, it does become pay to win, which is very, very frustrating. And I think it's incredibly stupid that there is no progression apart from the supply crates. And sure, you can get scrap instead, so you can build the weapons, but it costs 600 scrap to build any one of the weapons in the beta right now. And in my 3 days of playing it, I've earned 60 scrap. Just 60. So they're really, really pushing the buying of supply crates in order to progress in the game, and it's it's quite frankly very unfair. And I'd hope that DICE puts in another form of progression system, kind of like they did for the first Battlefront game, where there's assignments to unlock these weapons, kind of stealing from a page from Battlefield. There's either assignments to unlock them, but I just don't feel like using the supply crate to progress players is a very good idea. And I hope this is coming out as one coherent thought, and I'm sure there is something I'm missing right now, but I'm trying to wrap this video up. Supply crates and progression system being mixed together really rubs me the wrong way, and I hope that DICE will fix this, even though I'm fairly confident that they won't, at least not at launch, and it might just be something that we have to deal with. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I know it was kind of longer than I expected it to be, but if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like on it, and if you are new around here, please subscribe. I'm normally not this serious. The folks at Legendary Inc. do a lot of funny moments videos, and of course more videos like this, but we like to have fun around here, and we like to not be so angry all the time. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Nicker Catalyst, and I will see you all another time.
Right stroke, put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Bitch, be humble. Hold up, bitch. Sit down.